You are saying, oh, anything about the house don't pass. As against, I'm sorry for saying this. Exactly. Did you ever say, I'm sorry for saying this about your dad? No, actually, not.
Tonight on the reunion show was simply a continuation of the epic fights and quarrels in the house. That's a continuation of yesterday's show. So don't be surprised if you're seeing the housemates wearing the same outfits. It's simply a continuation. Now, Ebuka opened up the show with crazy hot fights between Nengi and Lucy, Nengi and Kaisha, and then there was also the New and Lucy's quarrel as well. But then Ebuka started asking Nengi, you know, what actually caused her fight with Kaisha, and for her, she said that she can't even remember anymore. Because guys, to be very honest, most of the quarrels that started off in the house with these housemates, if you ask them now, some of them, you don't even know what happened, and you wouldn't really blame them because they were all like they were on a ticking time bomb, yeah, for much of a better word. It was all like everybody was under tension, everybody was under pressure. So when somebody steps on your toe, it takes the grace of God or whatever that housemate believes in to help them maintain poise and smile, you know, without pouncing on the next person. And of course, that was also Biggie's rules in the house that did not allow anybody to physically assault another housemate. So everybody was under so much pressure, and I was quite surprised that Nengi shoved Kaisha twice and she did not get any strike or warning for it, which was the first ojoro that we actually witnessed on the show. Because another time, someone actually, I think, shoved someone or maybe did something, I can't really remember, and then the person actually got a warning. Ebuka questioned Lucy because in the course of Lucy and Nengi's quarrel, Lucy actually said something which was very, very resonating, which was very, very resounding. She said to Nengi, go and play with those guys. After all, you are the one that likes being touched. And guys, everybody that watched the show knew that as at that time, Lucy was referring to the fact that Nengi was a heavy flirt in the house. She was flirting with Ozor, much later, that's 3 weeks later, with Prince, with Kiddwaya, even with Trikytee, and then much later she shifted focus to Tochi. For Brighto, I don't think she actually really got that chance to, you know, get to Brighto. So it was just too much. In fact, a lot of people just saw through Nengi's strategy, even though today she still keeps saying that no, she just likes being playful. We all knew that she was actually being very, very flirtatious. Lucy tried so hard to actually answer that question, to explain herself. At the end of the day, I'm just like, Lucy, just say it the way it is. You're outside the house. Nobody's going to beat you. You're not going to get a strike. But she was trying to explain so hard that, oh, because Nengi said she likes playing with guys. I'm like, Lucy, your explanation is not just making sense at all. Because if Ebuka kept on asking her, for you to have made that statement, it came from a place of somewhere. She was like, oh, she was trying to get back at Nengi because Nengi called her a hold hag and something like that, I'm like, Lucy, just let the matter rest. That was the conversation of nominations in the house. Guys, trust me. You see this lockdown housemates, they had the best and the worst kind of nomination since Big Brother Naija started. These set of people, they were just so cunning and strategic. And okay, initially when they started doing their nomination process, I was one of those people that was complaining that they were nominating with their heart and not their head. They were nominating based on, oh, I like this person, I'm close to this person, so this person should stay. Not knowing that the person that they were having that soft spot for was literally their threat in the house and the person that actually had the most votes coming from the fans outside the house. So I couldn't really blame them that much because, hey, they were inside the house, so they didn't really know about what was going on the outside. But then you see this set of housemates, these lockdown housemates, they were the same people that will actually nominate you, yeah, in the diary room, and then they will come outside and then they'll be wailing like catfishes. That's if fishes wail. But then they'll be wailing when you get evicted, and that was the exact same thing that Neo did to Praise. And guys, to be very honest, try as much as Neo tried to explain himself, I felt like he had no valid reason whatsoever. The guy was just a sneaky human. Like, Neo's game in that house, at the beginning, it was quite annoying. Because he and Praise, they had a lot in common. They were very, very good friends. And then he's trying to say that, oh, and he had to save VEE. Neo had no relationship whatsoever with Wathoni in the house. So if he was not seeing Praise as a threat, then what better reason to say that made him put up Praise for eviction? And guys, that was exactly how Praise was evicted, and then Neo was shouting the loudest in that day. I was so disgusted. I'm like, dude, please shut up and sit down. I beg. I understand this is a game, but just try not to fake it too much, because these are the kind of things that actually upset the viewers outside. And Neo was just quite lucky that he was not standing up for eviction all the time. If not, people were literally planning to kick his ass out of that house. Now, another very, very interesting conversation that started up this evening was about Neo, you know, making sly comments about Prince, especially when they had that painting task, you know, on a Thursday, where they had to talk about the person that they really loved the most in their lives, you know, and talk about those people at length. And Prince rather talked about his father. Everybody knows that Prince's father is royalty. Prince is literally a prince. And so a lot of people, or some people, actually cried, you know. Some people tried to make it overly emotional, you know, but then Neo went all out, you know, when Biggie asked who he felt was being very, very fake with their own presentation, and then he mentioned Prince. And then coming onto the reunion show, he's cooking up some cock and bull stories to defend himself, which did not really make sense at all. Now, guys, it's very interesting how tonight's reunion, like 50% of tonight's reunion, was focused solely on the lies that Neo has told, because we all knew from the beginning of the lockdown, you know, season, that Neo was a talkative. He used to talk a lot, and sometimes he would talk and talk and talk to the point of even forgetting and not even remembering some of the things that he has said. Now, this is one thing I will always say, that people have different ways of expressing their emotions. People have different ways of reasoning. People have different ways of doing things. So everybody were given a task to talk about their loved ones, and people cried, people shared their own emotional part, people said a lot, you know, and then Prince said his own part. Although for me, as at that time, I felt like, wow, this is actually a lot. You know, was the tears real or not? Because hey, he's a man, so it's not really easy to see a man cry. And then he cried, and then Neo went into the diary room and answered biggest question to say that, oh yes, he felt like Prince's own narration was fake or was not real, you know. So that was the issue. But then the question is, Neo, did you actually apologize to Prince? And Neo is going around and around and around and around. Oh, I told you. And guys, this is what some of the housemates actually said about Neo. That Neo is the sort of person that, oh, he came out of the house, he goes to different people like, oh, guy, everything that happened in the house stays in the past. For real, that does not equate or measure up to a proper apology. You knew quite alright that you actually gossiped about a lot of people. You knew you said a lot of nasty things about a lot of people. So what you do when you come out of the house, even if you cannot remember the things you said, you go to them. Courtesy demands that you make reference a bit and say, oh, I might not remember the things I said about you, but please, for all the things I have said, which I cannot remember, please, I beg your apology. Proper apology is needed, and he never apologized to Prince. Guys, it was just this night that I actually realized or learned that Neo and Prince, they went to the same university. Although I heard about it whilst they were in the house, but I did not really understand because Prince kept on calling Neo brother, 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 you know. But Neo was so sly and sneaky in the house that, because people literally call him brother and he calls some other guys brother, sometimes you don't really know who is actually in a genuine friendship relationship with him. And for me, that was really a problem. Now, the next conversation that Erica had with the housemate was the fight, or should I say the altercation, or should I say the shouting spree between Wathoni and VEE. But this time around, it was VEE that was doing all the shouting. Guys, to be very, very frank with you, I remember vividly that very day, I was very, very upset with VEE. I felt like VEE's shouting was completely unnecessary. I felt like VEE was completely overreacting. I felt like VEE was acting extremely controlling, because listening to her explain herself tonight as to the reason why she was yelling at Wathoni, guys, for me, it still does not really make sense. It still doesn't really equate. So this is what she's saying, yeah. It was all about the bed. Lilo had been evicted from the house. Wathoni likes coming to that particular bed. VEE has been spending the night in Neo's bed. Wathoni likes sleeping on VEE's bed, and VEE has all her things inside the storage. So whenever VEE wants to remove her stuff, she feels like she's disturbing Wathoni. So she's having conversation with Tolanibaj that, oh, Wathoni should take over Lilo's bed, and Lilo had just been evicted and Lilo's things were still in the house. So for me, I felt like she and Tolanibaj, they were being very, very insensitive, because as at that time, everybody in the house already had a space to stay. So Lilo just got evicted. The best they could do, or the least they could do, was to allow Lilo to be properly evicted from the house, or let her leave the house properly by, you know, her things being moved out of the house as well. But it's like person never died. They've not packed the person's corpse, they've not buried the person. You're already telling somebody to go and inherit the person's space. For me, I felt like that was extremely insensitive of VEE and Tolanibaj, even though both of them are claiming that they had good intentions towards Wathoni. They wanted Wathoni to be comfortable, but according to Wathoni's own part of the story, she was actually sleeping and she was woken up by their conversation that, oh, she should go and stay on that bed, she can stay on Lilo's bed, this and that. I understand, but guys, there's time for everything. And for me, that's good intention they had. It just came in at the wrong time. It made Wathoni feel like she was being chased away, and according to what they said, Wathoni and Tolanibaj, they were not really on good terms as at that time, because of course there was Prince in the picture, yeah, so it was already causing a friction between these two people. And I felt like VEE should have known better, because she and Wathoni, they were in a good place. They had no issues at all. They had no bad blood towards each other at all. VEE is shouting at Wathoni that very day, guys. If you cast your mind back all over again to that very scenario, you see that Wathoni was just looking, because Wathoni was literally having a conversation with Brighto about what was going on, and VEE had literally just had the same conversation with New. She had also had the conversation with Tolanibaj. So in my head, I'm thinking, I don't understand. Why is VEE acting so controlling? You know, because you've been having the conversation with people. Wathoni is also having the conversation with people that she feels comfortable with, you know, expressing how hurt she felt. And then you are coming to come and shut her up, coming to come and tell her that that's how mad people behave because she's being repetitive about what's going. Like, I don't understand. For me, I just felt like that was another slight form of bullying, whether they accept it or yes. I felt like they were just seriously bullying Wathoni, because already it had happened in the house, you know, before Katrina was evicted, that, oh, Wathoni had an issue with Katrina, and then Katrina blew hot and all of that, and then Wathoni being the sort of person that, knowing that she does not have any power to act physically on the other person because of the rules governing the house, she had gone into the room to go and sit down and cry. So I felt like they were just playing on her weakness, that when she's really upset, she goes to a corner to cry. So for me, VEE's lashing out at Wathoni, shouting at Wathoni, it was completely overreacting. It was completely unnecessary. It was just completely shouting at Wathoni as if Wathoni was a child. And no matter what they want to say about it, for me, I just felt like there was no excuse to that. Anyways, guys, these were most of the conversations that Ebuka broached on tonight's episode of the Brother Naija Lockdown Reunion show. Yes, it was mostly about Neo and Prince, slightly about Neo and Lucy, slightly about VEE and Wathoni and Tolanibaj, but mostly about Neo. Guys, Neo was just completely exposed today, and for real, my verdict is he completely betrayed Prince. Until now, or till the reunion show, he still doesn't feel any sign of remorse for it. Go ahead, let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I will see you all on another episode of Frankly Speaking with Glory. Remember, as usual, I will tell you that whatever I say on this video regarding analyzing the show, that is my own perspective. Go ahead and let me know yours in the comment section below, and I will see you on another episode of Frankly Speaking with Glory. Elijah, have an amazing night's rest. Bye.